Hello and welcome back to Angel's Table. We are going to do a segment on Chris Rock at the Oscars. I am going to welcome back Remy Waters, Anne-Marie Lamphier, and Amber Tolman. Thank you for joining me again for this segment. So, Chris Rock, first of all, I'm going to say, regardless of what his topics were, I think he was probably the best host ever. And I think he's incredibly funny. I thought he handled the topic of the white Oscars very beautifully. I was laughing out loud, I mean, just through the whole thing. I thought it was absolutely just so much fun.
Yes, I think he did it colorfully and tastefully.
Yeah.
And it was necessary because of, well, first of all, we was looking at the Beyonce issue with the way that her dancers was dressed at the Super Bowl. And for the black audience, it wasn't so much of a problem, but for more so the white audience, that was. Bringing it to the Oscars, Chris Rock put a spin on it where everybody became more comfortable with talking about the issues.
Right.
And
Well,
that's,
you know,
I think it was necessary.
I think it was too, and I want to touch on that for a minute. I didn't actually have a problem with the Beyonce video until people started talking about it. It's like, well, I never really saw that. All I saw was a bunch of really amazing dancers behind Beyonce.
Right. Correct.
I could not take my eyes off of them because I thought they were so incredible. And I thought, well, if there was a real direct message, okay.
I didn't pick up on it.
I didn't pick up on it, which, okay, maybe I'm just not that sophisticated of an audience member. I was just trying to be entertained.
Right.
So, but then when the conversations came out, I started looking at that video a little bit more. And I said, okay, well, I guess I see that. And if her intention was that, then I'm still not offended. But it's like, we need to somehow, be able to, because it is freedom.
To bridge the gap.
But that's the power of music too, though.
Because she of anybody has the power to unite us.
Right.
And so I would like to see that in somebody like Beyonce. And I think that's what Chris Rock is doing. I mean, I think,
Yes.
oh my gosh, that's why he pointed out where the flaws are on both sides of the aisle.
Right.
Because, sometimes, quite honestly, somebody will say something and they're like, if you do blah, 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 you're racist. And I'm like, I'm racist, oh my gosh, I didn't know. And then it's
Well,
like,
what do you mean,
just,
you guys?
I know, that's like, okay, I guess I might want to rethink a few things here. And then I think, but if I did or said that, I would really hope that you would know me, well, people I know, that you would know me and know that that's not true, that, I don't know. So I did think that Chris Rock brought to the table the way white people might feel about some of this stuff. And now going back to the Academy Awards in general, sorry, I'm not letting anybody else talk. I have a lot to say. I'll give you your moment. But I have a lot to say. The thing about the Academy Awards, and I do wish that Parker was in on this conversation with me because he has a lot to say about the Academy Awards in general as well. To me, it's an entertainment. It's all about entertainment. And the awards almost don't even matter anymore because half the time you're going, well, why was that nominated but not that? And it doesn't even matter if it's diverse or not, just in general, that to some extent they nominate, like I truly believe that Leonardo DiCaprio, they were going to rig it no matter what, that he was going to win.
Right.
He was going to win because he hasn't won in the past. He showed he's the best actor of all time, probably.
I think Titanic should have took it all. I mean, because he was a great actor in that.
He's
but
never not.
Eating Gillen great too.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh,
Great.
seriously. So I do think, the awards are more about entertainment than what's really true and valuable. And then,
Well, as an actor, I would really want to win an Oscar.
I would
to be
too.
recognized.
I can't say that I wouldn't want.
I mean, I want to be recognized.
Yeah.
I want to regress a little bit. The Beyonce thing, music serves a purpose, just like any arts do. And I find nothing wrong with her taking a position, political, social.
But
anything.
was that the right place to do it? That was the
Why not? It is being seen by more people in the United States and in the world than almost any other program that we have. I think it's the perfect place to do it.
But
Now,
except that really, but if anybody else came up there with an agenda at the academy or at,
we'd be talking about it, just like we talking about her. The whole point
that's true.
is to talk about it. Now, personally, I just didn't want to see Beyonce again, because didn't she just do it a couple years ago? I mean, seriously, didn't she just do it a couple years ago? I was like, Beyonce. She's wonderful.
See,
She's
you know
wonderful.
what? I
I'm
was
not
thinking
a fan,
exactly
but
what you were
I
saying.
was
I did
so-
not want to see Beyonce
I didn't want to see her again.
But at the same time, she did an incredible
She did a great job.
performance. On top of which, she made a political statement behind it.
Yes.
And I appreciate that. And that's what I was looking at.
If you can get away with a statement in that audience, I say go for it. I don't necessarily know if I agree with her or disagree with her. I'm going to leave that out of it. But I didn't think she did anything wrong. And if she can do it and get people talking about it, that is the whole point of.
See, I guess I personally don't think that the Super Bowl halftime is for political agendas. I really don't. And really, if nobody had said anything, I wouldn't have cared. I would have thought, oh my gosh, Beyonce's backup dancers are amazing. When I see more of them. I don't particularly like the way Beyonce dances, so it's aggressive. But she's a great performer. But that's not what we're talking about.
We're talking about
We're not talking about
Chris
Beyonce. We're talking about the political agenda.
And I think one fed into the other, though.
It did. Yeah.
So.
But I don't know. I thought that a lot of what Chris Rock made a lot of sense, and I really hope that they bring him back just because he's so much fun.
Right,
I did, and I love Kevin Hart. And I was not uncomfortable with what he said, but I thought he took it a little bit further, and I thought, no, don't stop before you go too far. And he didn't. And
I thought it was very, and I understand what you're saying about, again, using that moment, and it made me uncomfortable. However, I thought it made me uncomfortable in the right way. It made me think, and I thought he was eloquent. I thought what he said was very accurate, and it did make me uncomfortable. Like, is this appropriate? But then he's like, okay. And it was like, he went just far enough to make me pay attention to what he was saying.
Right.
And that's the exact point. You know, if you, a lot of black issues are missed over, jumped over, crossed over, left out. The reason why that is because a lot of what American society is about, me, the corporate entity of it all. So when you have these corporate figures listening to a gentleman like Chris Rock, you hear and see, okay, I'm paying attention to these certain issues, these certain black issues, and not these certain black issues, it becomes these certain American issues.
Right. Well, and that's a good point. And in both cases, Chris and Kevin Hart, they both did everything. It was very eloquent, very intelligently, and they weren't just saying, you're mistreating us, and let's face it. You know, they were like, okay, let's talk about this logically, and that's why it was great.
Right.
It's like, when you can have a logical conversation about something, especially one without a lot of anger in it, the anger usually is what fuels, and then nobody really hears the other side of it. You know, I've seen some conversations on Facebook, and I want to chime in, and it's like I can't because they'll misunderstand what I'm saying, and I don't want them to misunderstand, right? And I actually got in a conversation with somebody who I love dearly, and another person who I also love dearly, but they were really angry, like, oh, right, it's about race. And I was just like, you're not getting it. And then they had this conversation, and it was really ugly, and I was like, oh my gosh, I started this, and I didn't mean to. And I backed down, and I texted the one young lady and said, I'm really incredibly sorry, but you handled yourself beautifully during that. She said, thank you. She said, I don't have any ill feelings about her or anything. But it was kind of because it was saying, you're all racist, everybody's racist. And I know that's not what she intended, but it was, and so it just sort of made it this really ugly situation. And I thought there has to be a way we can talk about this without everybody being so mad at each other.
I think both Chris Rock and Kevin Hart made out something that Zsa Zsa Gabor used all the time, and she made a statement of it. What her statement was is, flattery gets you everywhere, Bob.
Absolutely.
It does,
Yeah. So when you approach a situation with a certain attitude, your attitude is the creation of everything, the whole entire perspective.
Right.
The attitude that both Chris Rock and Kevin Hart brought to this event was an appropriate one to bring out what needed to be talked about, what needed to be recognized, and everyone got it.
Right.
Right.
And that's the point. Get it.
Thank you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, the one thing that is interesting to me is I do believe that there's so much more diversity than there was even 5 years ago. I mean, there's so many shows that when you watch them on TV, they have lead black actors, and there's a combination of black and Indian, and so I do see the diversity is happening. And so what I was thinking as he's talking, that what is great is to see this is where we are. We're so much farther than we were 5-10 years ago. Let's just keep building on that. Let's just keep moving forward because one thing that happens in any case, that when people are making efforts and then people start yelling at you like, oh my gosh, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? And you're like, I've been trying, and I'm making baby steps, and maybe it's only baby steps, but baby steps are steps. And so that's what I was, sort of hoping that he would recognize, because surely there's so many amazing black actors that eventually they're going to be recognized the way they're intended. Like Idris Elba. Oh my gosh, come on now.
Yes,
Now
yes.
I didn't see that movie all the way through, so I don't really know what because there are times that I love someone, but I know that they weren't deserving. Like, I'm not sure Rachel McAdams should have been nominated. I mean, why was she in that? They're really, no. And then I did see Straight Outta Compton, and the one thing I thought about that was the first half of the movie, nothing struck me as like, they're amazing actors, nothing, the story, but I wanted to see it through, and by the time the movie was over, I really fell in love with it, and I fell in love with all of them. And I thought, if you were viewing this and only saw the first half of it, and you're like, done with it, but if you had stuck it through, you're like, yeah, these people all did an amazing job.
Yeah.
So, but like it or not, people view that movie as a black movie. Okay, I mean, it's not. It's. I think part of it is that.
What does that mean, though?
I didn't
Okay,
really.
well, think about like The Martian, and I know that was part of their skit, is putting other people of color in roles. The Martian is a generic film. It didn't have to be a white man, okay?
Right.
It could have been anyone playing that role. Now, I wasn't in the casting process. I did not see who they pictured, who they saw. But yeah, when it's a generic film, when it can be a man, woman, it could have been a woman, it could have been a man, it could have been a man of color, Asian, it doesn't matter. It could have been anyone. So what is it that how did Matt Damon get it? Now, mind you, I thought he was
Because
brilliant.
of Matt Damon.
I thought, right, he's bankable.
Yeah.
I thought he did do a brilliant job. But I think that, personally, when there are more generic roles out there, that it should be, and I think that that's part of what the conflict is. It's not really about the Oscars, it's about Hollywood in general. Because people are having difficulty seeing someone in a role because they go with what they're used to. They go with what,
Well, what if you're in the casting office and let's say there are 4 black men and one white man, and the white man really did a better job than the other 4? What do you do?
You go with
I go one who did the best.
As a casting agent, you go with what wins.
Right.
Absolutely. And that's your whole point. If it's not broke, don't try to fix it.
Right.
You keep on going to the same line.
No, I absolutely agree. I'm saying I wasn't there. I wasn't in the casting.
Right.
So I don't know how it went.
I'm pretty sure with that movie, they thought of Matt Damon and like, oh, he'll be great with this.
Well, people write roles for people.
We're going to be able to bank on this.
Right.
So with those movies, I think there's a reason for it. Is because they already have established the fact that they're bringing in the money.
Well, that's one.
They're going to bring you money. You don't know, like, let's say they put.
Denzel Washington or someone.
Well,
I think Will Smith is
He
one
wouldn't have
man
been
who has
young
broke
enough,
the
but-
boundaries of
Yes.
race.
Yes,
He
yes.
plays roles
Yeah.
all over the map. I wouldn't necessarily say, like a Terrence Howard. I love Terrence Terrence Howard. I think he's a brilliant actor.
I do
But
too.
most of the films I've seen are along a cultural vein. Okay?
Okay.
I haven't seen him really broaden outside of that particular thing, except with the exception of the one with Hugh Jackman. It was about the kids getting kidnapped.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I can't think of the name, but it's...
Anyway, it was with Paul
Prisoners.
Dano and what was it?
Prisoners.
Prisoners. Brilliant. That was the first time that I've seen, and that was a generic role. It could have been anyone, and he did a powerful
Yeah.
performance. They all did.
Right.
And so-
that shows you
Yeah,
his
that was great.
His
Oh my
range.
gosh.
exactly.
Absolutely. And so
Yeah.
that's what I want to see. I want to see more films where it doesn't matter the color of your skin.
Well, one
It's-
thing
it has to do with your talent.
I personally, there are a lot of movies that they cast name talent, and I always go, why did they put this person here? Why?
Oh, absolutely.
She is not good for this role. Why? And it is the money. That's where they go with it. But sometimes you'd like them to really cast from their heart. Just cast who you really truly believe would be great in this role. There'd be a lot better film. I mean, there are a lot of great films, but I shouldn't say that. There'd be some films that are mediocre, probably unbelievably wonderful.
Yeah.
But
And as far as the nominations go, too, towards, for the African American actors, I mean, I think the fact that it took Leo this long to get, an award is just,
how does that
it just shows
happen?
you that there's clearly some injustice in the
Right.
nomination
the last-
and winning process.
I want to say this about Straight Outta Compton. I think that not only was it a black film, okay, we're going to go along the lines, but I think it needed to be stretched out to a larger audience because of the fact
Right.
that it was a historical market.
Right.
oh my gosh,
Oh,
when
wow.
you
Let me
say
Let me
that,
ask you this. When you say a black film, do you mean a predominantly black cast?
Correct.
Okay.
Well,
'Cause I think
not
that
just
film-
not
It's a
just
black
the
story.
not just the predominantly black cast. The whole entire range of the movie dealt with police
The race,
brutality
yes. Okay.
amongst black citizens.
Yes.
Right.
So on that, as an artist, trying to get they're way out in Del Rio Grande, Del Rey, trying to be able to do exactly what they need to do to get an edge higher, and the
Right.
police are bothering them at the studio.
Right.
Yeah.
right,
That didn't make sense.
right.
So these are the certain things that needed to be talked about, needed to be identified and adjust in our community.
Right, and now that you say that, just having, and you're right, if they had nominated that film, that actually really would have brought focus, because everybody goes out, well, not everybody, a lot of people run around the last month or two before the Academy Awards and go see whatever was nominated.
Right. Right.
So they would have been out
Oh, that
watching
may be, right.
that. And I mean, I loved that movie, and as soon as it was over, I wanted to watch it again. The first half of it, I wasn't engaging with the people, and I kept thinking, they're just not interesting enough to me. But as it went on, I said, oh my gosh, I love you. Oh my gosh, I think you're so fantastic. Thank you for telling your story. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for being you. And not only were they addressing the black issue in the music industry, they were just addressing the music industry
Right.
and how
Right.
bad the music industry is. So it made a lot of statements that really needed
Well, and
to
all
be
the obstacles that
addressed.
were overcome. I mean, it was.
So
I mean,
so
I was in.
how brilliantly they did it.
Well,
How smart they were. Not all
well,
of
you
them,
and I were both.
obviously.
We were
Yeah.
both in school in the 80s. I mean,
Exactly.
in the high school with our formative years, and to have these guys, it was an amazing altering of the mind of what is out there, because I grew up with my grandparents, and I honestly, until I was in middle school,
Right.
I was only, which I still love, but Glenn Miller and Tommy Dorsey, they were all about those classics, big bands, which I love. But until I kind of snuck rock and roll and snuck things in junior high, because they didn't even let me listen to FM radio, I kid you not. So
Oh my
it
gosh,
opened up
too
when
funny.
MTV came out.
That's funny.
It just broadened my mind of the world. And then when you had I mean, even Beastie Boys, even though
Yeah.
the Beastie Boys, it was kind of like this bridge,
Yeah.
you know, and then it's like, okay, what is this genre of music? And then
Right.
you NWA, and then you know, and it's just like, you know, this is
Right.
cool.
I have to tell you, I really like the music too. I found myself really engaging with the music in that, and you know, I'm not one to be listening to a lot of rap. I mean, I really don't listen to it all, partially because I don't really listen to the radio that much. But I found myself really enjoying it to the point I thought, you know, I could actually go out and get the soundtrack for this because I enjoyed it that much. And I thought that was, you know, because I saw the stories that they were telling with the music, and I thought that's really fantastic. Now I really don't like it when they have to be constantly talking about the F word, and you know, like every other word is F. That's
Right.
It's like, can you tell the story without 90% of the words being?
Here's the thing.
F
Here's the
word?
thing about that in rap genre. Yes, it could leave out. The only thing with that is the livelihood is so vulgar itself that they have to speak it in a vulgar manner.
Yeah.
It's not that they
Yeah.
have to be vulgar, but in order to be real about what's really going on, their mentalities and in their
And I get
speech,
that.
it has to be vulgar.
Yeah, and I really got that from the film. I really did. I mean, really, for me, created a whole different mindset. And not that I ever had judgments about it before, because I knew it was just something that I wasn't a part of. And I also partially thought it was just because I'm not 20. You know, so really, I didn't think that it was even the cultural differences, because I think you can appreciate something. You know, it took. Okay, well, I swore before I had kids, but then when I started having children, there was no swearing. And up until the last few years, I haven't sworn at all. And my lovely son Parker has really, it's like, now when I swear, he's just like, that came off your tongue really easily. So, but that was more because I know that kids will repeat anything you say, and I really didn't want my kid to be the one going off to school saying the F word. So, yes, Parker would be the one saying the F word. So he's in the back. He's in the background doing things. He didn't want to be on camera today,
But do you think?
but he still wants to participate.
Do you think some of the humor in the academies? Do you think they were making too light of it? Or
No, I really. The thing is, I do think that.
I'm just curious. It
Some
was just
black
a
people
curious
might
question.
wanted him to go deeper into it, but when you're trying to unite people, you need to be able to do it so that people are all comfortable.
Right.
And you know, I do know some white people that might have said, you know, and to me, I would be rolling my eyes at them. You know, like why? It was great. It was fantastic. And then I know somebody who was upset because she's friends with Jada and Will. She didn't like it that she brought them into the picture. She was just like, I really liked what he was saying until he brought Jada and Will into the picture. And it's like, well, you know, getting angry like they're, come on now, you're a power couple. You both, she might not make millions.
Well,
with
to
her
know Jada
projects.
Smith's background, I understand, and Will had done an interview and very lightly touched on from where his wife was coming from, and he basically said he wouldn't have boycotted the Oscars, but in support of his wife. And then doing some research on, I did not realize. I mean, she had a rough start, and you know, it's interesting to see. I don't know. I can't walk in somebody else's shoes.
But then look where she is. So that's why because of that, and that's incredibly inspiring. And that's what she should be doing, is inspire instead of creating anger. That was the only problem I had with Jada.
I agree with you. I agree
You
with
do?
you completely and totally. When you look at the identity of someone's livelihood, like you were speaking of Will understanding, sometimes people's attitudes really gets in the way. Bitter, and I'm not saying that she is bitter, but being, you know, these, you know, bitterments and anger just brings it to a different level. So,
Right.
and I think that a lot of what we need specifically as actors are a lot of, you know, psychological training, because of the fact that, you know, we go through different character roles and have to deal with certain things. You can have actors that's out here just, actor that's just trying to get in and not making it, and then, going after casting call after casting call, and just not doing it. He's a struggling actor. She's a struggling actor.
Right.
And that's what you're talking about, but you can't look at it as something to be bitter about.
Right.
You have to look at it as Booker Washington spoke. Your success is not about being successful, but about the struggles in getting to that success.
Right. Well, and that kind of brings up an interesting point, because we all have histories, we all have backgrounds. I mean, obviously, I don't have whatever Jada. I can only speculate on what her story is. But it's not like I'm without pain. And my ancestry, if we want to keep going back and back, there, both sides of my family, there's huge, incredible tragedy that, just thinking about it, it's like, oh my gosh, that's my grandparents, and that's despicable. But because theirs is not, it's, like a country, it's not, black, it's different. So it's easier to bring that pain and that anger with you.
Yes.
But, and people do that, and it's not just black people. Everybody will bring their pain and their anger with them to wherever they're coming from. And sometimes you want to say, okay, I get that you're in pain, but that has nothing to do with what's going on here. And so it's almost like take your inspiration and create more inspiration off of it.
I agree with that, and my only argument to that is you're right. I mean, we've all had our issues through our lives. But in general, that's our family. Black, African American issues, they all have their own family issues, plus they have a whole race of issues that they share together. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right. Well,
and
my ancestry is Native American.
So all right, so that is different. So that would be along similar lines. But do you know what I'm saying?
No, and I did. That's what I'm saying. And my grandparents came from Yugoslavia, and they were escaping the war.
Right.
My great grandmother and my aunt were taken from their home and murdered, and nobody saw or heard about them again. So, but that's what I'm saying. So there's that family pain. I mean, the stuff my grandparents brought with them, and I mean, the way we were raised was based on what their experience was. And there's sometimes we're just going like, Dad, oh my gosh, this isn't happening to us. We can't be afraid to go outside the door because, what happened. So I get that. And ours was small. So I do completely and totally understand. That's why I was saying it's, it's a group. I mean, blacks are not just in America. They're everywhere. So, and I don't know where my point's going.
Well,
I see.
I want to
I
ask
see.
to what you asked about if Chris Rock made it too light of the whole race thing. And I just think that racism is absurd at any time, but especially in 2016, it's so absurd that all we can do is laugh and almost feel sorry for those people that really have that hate in their heart. You know what I mean?
When I see it just makes me so mad. Really? Can we just lock you up so you don't spread whatever it is you're saying?
It's insanity.
And I truly don't
honestly.
see it very often, but when I do, it's very upsetting. I'm not trying to minimize. I want to go back to that. I'm not trying to minimize because I understand the whole.
I think it's still so much far more prevalent than we realize. I'm
always
still shocked.
But I think so.
I like to bury my head in the sand because it's like everybody loves each other. What do you mean?
I think so to the fact that my mother once used the saying, and I still use it to this day. The more things change, the more things stay the same.
Yeah.
And you don't really realize how realistic that is until you have comedians like Chris Rock bringing it up to your attention.
Thank you, Chris Rock. Really, and because he's intelligent about it, it's really pretty phenomenal. And really, like race is a huge thing, and it's shameful that it exists. It really is shameful. But one thing, think about any situation like just the anger about politics. That it's the same thing like what your mom said.
Yes.
The
more things change, the more things stay the same.
Stay the same. And you're like, this is really incredible. We are so much smarter than this. We are more evolved. We have so much more information that, really we need to let some of that stuff go. I mean, sometimes I want to just say, you all need therapy. Like everybody who's on Facebook, they're angry with their politics. I have very strong political points, but sometimes I think you're just offending everybody for no purpose. Just go get therapy. Say your point without,
Right.
acting like when somebody disagrees with you that somehow they are the biggest idiots on the planet.
Right.
Come on, seriously.
Freud book.
There you go.
Right, it's like, I get where you were coming from, but
Yeah.
really was that appropriate? You just lambasted this poor person who just was speaking their mind, So yeah, it's shameful, but I'm really hoping that with people like Chris Rock and Kevin Hart that we can make a difference, and that's the only reason why I'm disappointed with Jada and Beyonce is because they have the power to really do some great stuff. So I'm hoping that Chris and Kevin can sort of say, come on board, let's work together and create a better, so that's comfortable for all of us.
The only thing I can say is because of Jada and Beyonce and others that boycotted because it's going to happen anyway. I mean,
Right.
it's going to the Academy Awards are going to happen anyway.
Right.
Right.
I was shocked
But
it was
look.
down there too.
But look, four of us that are diverse. You have an American Indian background. I'm not sure of all your cultural background, but you are
German, and I have German and French.
and I'm German and French and
German.
Irish. Okay, so we come from all different cultural backgrounds.
Yeah.
We have all different histories, but we are talking about this because of their actions.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true.
So, I mean, it makes
And
a big difference.
what I really appreciate is that you're having this conversation with us and you're comfortable with what we're saying, because I believe that some of the stuff I say might come off offensively to somebody else, and I don't mean it to, because I really, more than anything, I want everybody to love each other. Because I don't understand why people don't. That's not something that I can really fathom, but I have to put in my head that not everybody is like me. So I appreciate that we can have this conversation, and you're very open and comfortable and honest about it.
Well,
Thank you so much for that.
no problem. I believe that we're supposed to be more so united with each other, and they're not supposed to be color lines.
Right.
The color lines that are presented over business, because one people wanted to rule over another people so that they can be predominant in monies.
Right.
It's all about the gold. Who owns that gold. So if
Seriously.
my color is trying to get over your color over monies.
Right, and I think I said American Indian as opposed to Native American. Do you know what I mean? And
Yes.
because I got raised with that. Do you know what I mean? Some of it is terminology that
Didn't
but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, did I say
Yeah.
that? And so,
Yeah.
and some of it is going to be about change. My mother, God love her, she has some beautiful, colorful language to describing people of color. And I'm like, and she had a nurse that was taking care of her, and I think she was calling the person a Negro. And I was like, Mom, I'm like, why are you using that terminology? And she's like, well, what am I supposed to call her? I go, what's her name? She's like, Diane, whatever it was. And I said, Diane. And she's like, oh yes, I guess I could. Now, mind you, my mother she's bipolar and she's under state care, but still, she has enough intellect to learn a lesson. And it's like, but she's a substantially older, she got raised in a certain era, and it does, we have to, I'm not as crazy and forceful about political correctness, but there is something important about it, is to change terminology, change the way we talk about things, change how we talk to each other. Simple as that. And
Well, let me go back to the straight out of Compton. Like I was saying earlier, that vulgarity was necessary because that was the times that they were living in, and that's what abuses that more so force that terminology. Now we have a time where we are coming into a more diverse era where we need a diverse terminology with each other. I don't like to call it political correctness because, now we get into the legal matters of things, and that just kind of throws me off. What I rather, is more a natural, unified tone with each other.
Right.
So was it Raven Simone who was saying she's not African American, she's American, right? Is that what she was saying?
Right.
Yeah.
See, I don't get that because
I don't say I'm Italian American.
We're clearly
Right,
all different, but why don't we celebrate our differences rather than saying we're all the same? We're all, you know what I mean? I think we should just celebrate our differences.
I actually understand what she's saying, because that's something like you asking, what is your background, and then you tell. So that's one more thing that you can have, conversation about. It's like, oh, that's really cool, whatever. But what she's saying is that instead of seeing me as a separate from you,
Right.
we are all Americans,
Okay.
and then we all have our individual backgrounds
Yeah.
behind that.
Yeah.
I get that, but here I can't escape the fact that, everybody can see that I'm African American. That is not.
But are you?
But are you?
My background comes from Kenya.
Okay, so then you are. But I know there are plenty of people of color, and one is from, I'm sorry, it's, she's from South America, and I can't remember the country, I apologize. And that's where she's been as far back as she knows, she's South American, so somebody might call her African American, she's like, no. Because she's not. So I think maybe that's part of it, because there are people from Jamaica, there are people in Mexico that go back a gazillion years that there's no what they know of other than if you believe in creationism, is that we all came from Africa and that Middle Eastern area.
Right.
So yes, if that is where we come from, and to be honest, even if you just believe in evolution and Darwinism, we've all come from that area. That's how our bloodlines have come. So I do understand that, because just because the color of your skin may be dark does not necessarily mean you're African. Does not necessarily.
Yeah.
And that is true.
Well, and it's interesting too, though, because I walked around saying I'm white American. That actually wouldn't go over very well. If you think about that.
But you.
Hi, I'm white American.
Well, like I'm third generation, because my great grandparents were born in Italy and Germany and Poland. I'm a mixture of a few.
Yeah, so am I.
Yeah, so I'm only second generation born here.
We're all nuts.
I am not going to introduce myself. I would expect them to introduce themselves because I knew my Italian great grandparents. They would be Italian Americans. But my grandparents would never say I'm Italian Americans. I'm American.
Yeah.
So, or actually, I'm not even. I'm from the United States, to be honest, because North America, South America, Mexico, that's all American.
That goes too with
true.
nationality
Right.
versus ethnicity.
Exactly.
And then we went right back to what Raven was speaking of.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not African American. I'm American.
Okay, so she's speaking towards her nationality.
I don't agree with that, because of the fact that America is groomed with all different.
We're a melting pot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's necessary to identify your background of where you come from and your forward of where you're going.
I can take that.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can appreciate that. Well, I appreciate everybody sharing their thoughts on this subject. I realized that we had started out talking about Chris Rock, but got further into this conversation than I had anticipated, which I don't think is a bad thing. I think we covered some really important topics, and I think it's great that we can have the conversation peacefully and share the thoughts on it and learn from each other, really. I mean, that's, I think, the key thing is to learn from each other and understand where everybody is coming from, and hopefully get us to unite more in the future.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, did you want to say something?
I was just going to say that maybe have been the point of Chris Rock and discussing is just the starting point of this discussion.
Right.
Yes.
And perhaps that is, because I did not really intend the conversation to really go the route it did. I didn't expect it not to. I thought we would touch on it, but I didn't think that we'd get this involved in this conversation, and I'm okay with that. I think that it's timely. It's time that we have conversations that we can actually talk without being mad. So
I want to say this in closing. I think that the Oscars needed that for America to actually come together
I
in
think
a
so,
cycle
too.
of mentality.
I think so too. I think you're right. I think it's very important that this happened. I was a little disappointed that they had the lowest viewership, and I guess that's probably because there was some boycotting going on. But I think because of the way Chris handled it, I think that was very important, and I hope people go back to watch to
Yes.
see what he did, because I think what he did was great. I think hopefully will really have impacted a lot of us.
Yes.
Because I think too that he did cover the white view, and I think that's good. You know that he so
Yeah.
hopefully breaking some barriers there. So, but thank you all for joining me again. I really enjoyed this. This was fun.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for joining us.